Namaste and welcome to this special episode of TGND Beats, where we turn the table one more time on our beloved host Preeti and get to talk a little bit about the Great Nepali Diaspora's journey to 2023. Now that it's been almost a year that the community has been formed, so we'd like to welcome Preeti to talk all about the year, what has worked, what hasn't worked. So yeah, welcome Preeti.
Thank you, Subigya.
Very, very looking forward to having this conversation.
I know, super excited. And it feels a little unnerving to be on the other side.
Yeah. No, definitely. There's a reason why I choose to be behind the camera. It's always, I feel it's more comfortable behind there. So yeah, to get things started, let's start from highlighting one or two maybe special moments from 2003 that happened in TGND.
Sure. First of all, I think, one of the reasons I wanted to be on this podcast is I wanted to thank everybody. I think earlier that 1 year we have done a lot. It's been, incredible that it's not just me or you. I think it's, hundreds and thousands of people that are, a part of our community and so on. So I really want to thank everybody. त्यो बाहेक चाहिँ हुँदैन थियो, right? तर in terms of, some of the highlights, there are a few that are obviously a little feel like alikiti milestones because they're alikiti high profile, alikiti, in terms of signaling and so on, they've been great, right? So just as an example, when the Prime Minister of Nepal, he visited New York City, the UN Week, Kobelama, we were able to present about TGND, and that was an incredible experience, right? Just being, able to represent the diaspora and not just मैले present गरेको थिएँ, but I think being able to take the diaspora, people of our community, and showcase that was incredible. So Theo, I loved it. Similarly, we had when MP Swarnim Wagledai visited New York and SF and so many other cities, we were able to partner and do some events around that. This match, I think it was really exciting to see young professionals getting really excited about what's happening in Nepal. So being a part of something like that was incredible. Apart from that, I think we've been really lucky to be visible, I think, in terms of non-Nepali organizations. So we've done a few events with U.S. Department of State, and there was one in Chicago, which was exciting like anything, where we had Assistant Secretary Donald Liu, pretty high level official, coming in and meeting our diaspora members. We had a similar event in Washington, D.C., where Oideco current U.S. ambassador to Nepal, Dean Thompson, was visiting D.C., and we were able to do a very small, intimate event. So things like that are really, really amazing. But on a personal note, मलाई, apart from these, bigger sort of things, it's always the first of everything, right? Hitting the first, 100 users on Slack, or the first, sponsor, the first donation. I think everything, all these small things have felt like, a validation. So Theo has been, super exciting on a personal level, say.
Oh, I'm sure it's very. It's not been a long time community survival, but it's so great to learn about so many interesting highlights through the year. Thinking about the strategy side, Bohara, when you started TGND, I'm sure you had a couple of things that you wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
Hence, the community came into being. Tisma, what are some of the things that has worked, or that you like intention on how things worked out, or what are some of the things that hasn't worked in this last 2023?
Sure. So a few things, right? I think TGND start गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it's a little bit of a behavior shift in some ways, right? Because we had this, I think सबैजनाको we had this perception that Nepalीहरू एकअर्कासँग network गर्दैन. They're not really interested to mingle on a professional level, right? Socially, we We have these organizations. We celebrate Dasai Tihar. Are people going to just go somewhere and, talk about themselves in a professional setting, right? We didn't know if Nepalis would be comfortable with happy hours and so on, right? Tiu was an experiment, and that worked, right? In terms of we were able to, I think, tap into the demand that was there, and people were curious, people were excited. So, we in 1 year we've done close to 80 events, which is incredible, right? In so many different cities around the world. So Tiu that has worked, right? To see that, and not just networking. I think we've seen a lot of good outcomes from that, right? Whether collaborating on deals, investment, mentorship, finding jobs. There's a lot of good things that have come out of it. And that's wonderful. In terms of what hasn't worked, there's one that, I have felt, and I feel like, maybe this year we need to put more effort on it, right? Like on my end, when I'm looking for volunteers, when I'm looking for leaders, I'm always, I think, intentional in terms of making sure that it's not just men, right? There's at least an equal representation of, women for anything that we do, whether it's, panel, whether it's, leadership roles and so on. And we see that, right? I mean, our chapter leaders or there's a good sort of percentage of both for other volunteer roles as well. But what I still see alikiti lacking, and I think that's a representation of, I think, our lives as well as, society in general, where especially women with kids, smaller kids, younger kids, have a really hard time networking and taking on these leadership roles, right? One, it's they don't have the time, right? 9 to 5 work, even if it's even if it's virtual, they're sort of in weekends and evenings are spent with family. There's hardly any room for anything, right? It's understandable. It's scary and so on. But what I really want to come here and encourage people to do is, we're here to support that, right? What I am a little worried is people are not just networking, not networking with Nepalis, they're not networking in general. So maybe they're sort of choosing to slow down their professional growth, right? What I encourage everybody to do is, this is a safe space and we want to encourage and support you, right? So if there are women in our community that want to, spend a little bit of time contributing to the community and, trying on these leadership, skills, we're here to support you. We want to be flexible. But I think that just to add to that is also, how do we make our community adaptable to young parents and people that, might not have that ability to, leave their kids with somebody and come for networking, right? How do we also design events and things that allow people to do that, right? So alikiti, trying to be a little more intentional in 2023, 2024.
Oh no, that sounds very interesting, Arnie. I think it is important to as you said, be intentional while designing the opportunities. Yeah, the reality definitely is, but it's not like they're very limited for time. There are other priorities that I think, and a well-intentioned platform or a project could definitely be a good opportunity for everyone.
Right.
On the same lines, what other changes do you think is going to happen in the community in 2024?
Sure. So a few things. What I think thankful for is, I remember I think it was August 5th or something like that, when I actually did the first presentation about TGND to, a group of people we officially launched or something like that, right? This I remember I had created this slide deck, and I had put the mission, vision, and goals and so on. Everything has come true, right? it's like it's surreal, okay, right? In terms of just as an example, one of the goals was creating empowered champions that are leaders at each level, right? And we see that people and so many other things. Only while we're changing few things, Matse, there are some, like, I guess, gaps or learnings from last year. Few things we're trying to change, right? So just as an example, when we started, there were a few values that are a part of TGND. I think they're my personal values, Mani, and I wanted to incorporate that, right? So just as an example, say respect, professionalism, curiosity, right? We want that organization mapani, that in not just in terms of individuals. Only what we're adding is one more value, which is accountability, right? त्यो भने चाहिँ के भने, we're all accountable to each other, okay? Right? I can't just be like this face of this organization and you talk एकदम धेरै गफ दिएर तर do nothing about it, right? Or if I take on some responsibility, I can't just disappear and do nothing, right? We're all accountable to each other, and that's how we grow भनेर चाहिँ. That's what I think that's going to be a good value to incorporate भनेर त्यो गर्दैछौँ. Another one is adding a proper org structure, अनि formalizing some roles, responsibilities हरू पनि. I think the first year has been a lot of experimentation, a lot of ad hoc things, and we're trying to change that, right? So just as an example, we have Asha in SF, who is the director of community growth, who's going to look after all the chapters, help them grow. So super excited about that. We have our director of operations, Sabin, in Minnesota, who's incredible as well. And he's going to help our different hubs. We have you, who's going to be the manager of our podcast. We have Reeya, who's going to be managing our social media. And then we have other roles like that, right? I think it's not about titles or so on, that I think what it helps is really giving clarity, okay? In terms of where people are, who can you reach to, and so on. And I think it also is like a growing pain, okay, right? So just as an example, the first few hundred or even like Slack, I had talked to every single person on Slack. I had an individual one-on-one call with every single person for like 100 right? There's a couple of thousand people and I can't do that, right? I have calls here and there, but there is no way I am going to be able to do that. Right? But if not me, who can they reach out to? Who can provide the same level of support and so on? So, so Theo is, I guess, a good thing, Bunny, in terms of having that structure.
Yeah, and I think what's exciting is like the structure the scale. I think we are kind of seeing a little bit on like these different levels.
Of course.
Where there are more people trying to come in and help the community, help build the community, reach out to more folks. So I think their structure is very exciting.
Exactly. We're actually, I think, announcing it very soon. That we have 14 hubs, right? And each hub has two co-leads. There's at least one or two advisors for each. And there's volunteers. That's like, it's a lot of people. So the structure is really exciting. Ani back to your question, I think one other thing that we're also trying to do is कति कुराहरुमा चाहिँ, for me, I think I was sure about some parts of the idea that building a non-profit is not something I knew already, right? So त्यो blueprint थिएन, building a community and so on. So I've been trying to learn a lot of things, and there's been pros and cons of learning like that, right? So one thing we're also trying to sort of improve this year is how do we leverage grants, how do we leverage donations, we've been really lucky that this year saying people have donated to TGND, that it's been very organic, funny, right? People have trusted my work, the work of all of us, that it hasn't been so systematic. I think we could do so much more if we were just a little bit more organized around that. So you're saying we're also trying to like really focus on that side of things, right? How do we make TGND sustainable? You say it's going to be important.
I mean, that's very interesting. I mean, obviously, like as you mentioned, there has been, Sunny, it's been a learning experience, like trying to build a community as a nonprofit. Tisema, what do you think has been the biggest learning in your 2023 in building this community?
Learning, there's a few. I think consistency is so important. It's like people are I think excited in sprints. You know what I mean? So you do something, people are excited. There's energy around it. That I feel you need to do something again, like a month, in 2 months, or something like that. People need to see something is happening. You're moving forward, okay? Right? So, and that's easy to say, that it's very hard to do, right? How do you sort of engage people again and again and again? So, Theo is tough. But on the other side, I think FOMO, fear of missing out, so is this incredible tool, right? This was actually, we always think of it in a negative way, right? Of social media moments, and somebody goes on a vacation, posts these pictures, and you're like, oh, my life is crap, right? Nothing worth. You feel that, right? And I think social media does that. That I think the way we've used TGND mass FOMO is that the first event we do anywhere doesn't have to be this massive 50, 100 people only event. It can be like 2 people just having coffee, right? And people know about it, people are curious about it, and some more people come in, right? And then you started building that out. Anitu has worked so much, right, in terms of that engine, the curiosity engine, that has really helped us get a lot of supporters and followers and members.
Very interesting. Any other like maybe failures or like things that didn't work that you'd like love to like change in 2024 from 23?
But I would say, I think, and it's true for any sort of entrepreneur, anybody that builds anything, that takes on any responsibility, is letting that go, right? And so even as I think Malay should say, even when the community has grown from 100 to 1,000 to 2,000, feeling like I still can do a lot of things that maybe are not the best use of my time. Right? They're not below me. I would love that. Maybe I don't need to be the one doing it. Right? So just as an example, it's so exciting TGND Beats, right? So maybe what I should focus on, and that's what I'm trying to do, is be more strategic about it, right? How do we bring in more partners? How can we do bigger things? How can we make our community more visible than maybe sending messages to everybody? Right? Theo is a little bit tough because there's some things that you're so comfortable doing that you feel like, oh, I need 5 minutes, like 10 minutes. That Theo learning that is I think important. And also say failures that I think again learning for everybody is being able to say no to things. We talk about it so much, like everybody is like, you really reserve your guests. It does take some learning in any scenario to be able to say that, okay, this is the direction we're heading. This is the type of partnership we want. This is and no, this seems exciting, but maybe not now. It it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, Moni, especially given like this being a voluntary organization, there's a certain level of inner motivation that everybody comes in. So like I think
Right.
naturally it's not easy for folks to say no, Kinani. They always want to do more and
Exactly.
be present. But I totally understand.
Right.
We're oftentimes overstretching ourselves, even with these voluntary.
Exactly. And I think मलाई चाहिँ because मेरो एन्डमा चाहिँ it's also this weird sort of thing, right? Weird त भन्दिनँ तर like sometimes I feel like, okay, I love TGND so much because, you know, I'm the founder, भनौँ न, right? And I understand why people love it, why you're a part of it, why so many people are a part of it. But like that boundary, okay, I need to set boundaries for myself and for other people so that excited bhara pani I don't want people to burn out, okay? You know, this is something so incredible that we're doing. I hope it lasts for decades. I don't want somebody to be super excited, try to do like 100 things and feel like they're exhausted in like a month and say, oh my god, I need a break from this community. This is not going to, so Tio is also tricky, okay, to say that, okay, amazing, the excitement is amazing, but how do we sort of also cap it, okay, for so that everybody sort of stays that way for a while.
Yeah, I think that's very important. How do we create this environment for people to volunteer sustainably, but from their own efforts perspective?
Exactly.
We don't want people to burn out.
Right. And I think also people should, it should also lead to, contributing to Nepali community, and Nepal is amazing, but somehow it needs to align with their professional goals. Right? It's like, it's tough, right? What happens is people are excited, but life happens, kamma ke huncha, work, family ma ke huncha, and then this sort of falls, right? But if this sort of goes with what you're trying to do in the future, personally, professionally, it's sort of, alili bistari it moves forward as well, right?
Oni, 100%. I think sustainably already burning kurama, I think there are like pretty exciting things happening in the podcast as well. Would you like to share some of the interesting things that we're doing in season 3? Now people have already seen an episode, but would you still want to share with other folks who might not have seen our latest episode of the season?
Sure. So I think podcast has been so exciting, right? It's I love our podcast team. They bring so much to the table, right? I mean, including you, Subigya, in terms of, your idea, like, turning that into reality, into something incredible is incredible. And I think with each season, we've been able to experiment in terms of the type of guests we bring, the kind of domain people are in. And each time, I think we've been listening to what our audience says as right? The first one, I think we had a few more entrepreneurs that, one feedback we had was getting alikiti people from different industries, different domains. And season 2, that's what we did in terms of, having a very diverse pool. Your season is exciting because we have a few sort of tweaks to our episodes. And also, I think, even in terms of guests, the wider representation of what the Nepali diaspora is, right? त्यो is exciting to see, right? And I think also, there are a few well-known names and few names that should be well-known but aren't. But to be the storytellers of these for these people is so exciting. I think is like, it's almost like these are secrets that we get to share with the world. Right? And so त्यो is interesting. मेरो hope चाहिँ के छ भने with our podcast, people again, get to learn about the human behind this name, right? There's always celebrities or there's name, and people have perceptions about what that name means, what that title means. But we're bistare we're trying to uncover the human behind. So hopefully people get to see that. And we have some, really exciting people on it. So let's keep that a secret in terms of Coco and Satara. Should be a very good season.
100%. And I think like we have filmed a few till now, and they all have been great conversations. And
Right.
they definitely seem like they are these secret Nepali professionals doing amazing work in different parts of the world. And it does feel great to be sharing those stories.
I think so. And I think Orko Euta Ramailo Mali, what I'm realizing is, for me, I think a lot of people that, are guests on the podcast, we haven't met before, right? I'm getting to meet them like months after, like Jyoti Lai Bete in Dallas, I met Sam in LA, and it feels like you already know them, okay? Right after just, talking for an hour like this, you feel like you know a little bit more about that person, you have that connection. And I think Mero hope say that connection isn't just Mero and that guest, okay? It's that guest and everybody that listens, okay? That feels like, oh my God, I share something similar with this person. There's this connection, Manada. I think that would be amazing to see.
100%. Ani, I think we have Hamro, although few, there are few very loyal listeners who keep listening to all our episodes. And I think I'd love to encourage folks to interact with the guests a little bit, because I think they've been very open about answering questions. So if at any point you have any questions you might want to ask the guests, or any comments you might have about the show or the episodes, let us know. Put a comment below wherever you're seeing this podcast, and we'd love to kind of take those feedback and try to inculcate that.
No, you're so right, Subigya. And I think just to add to that, if you feel like, even if the feedback is negative, we would love to know, right? So kati times say, and Subigya, you and I feel that way, right? We have some conversation with some guests, and the 1 hour passes so quickly, and we're like, oh my God, I wanted to talk for 1 ghanta more, right? Because there's so much. The 1 hour, you don't go deep enough at times. So, if our audience feels that, we'd be happy to do, pull those questions, engage our guests, and so on, and get that. Also, I think tell us who you want to see as well. Right? Kati times, as diverse as we are trying to be, I think maybe we are looking in the similar circles, Pani. Right? So if there's somebody that we should be talking to, please let us know.
Yeah, 100%. Ani, obviously, we'd love to not be only, we'd love to tell stories of people who are not just in US, UK, Australia, but around the world, because again, the diaspora, this community is meant for everyone around the world. So yeah, please, if you have any suggestions of anyone in who are not in these major immigration countries, let us know, and we'd love to share their story as well.
Yep.
Really, moving ahead and looking ahead more so, what are some of the initiatives that are coming our way? We have done enough of reflections and looking back, and especially dissecting a little bit. But looking ahead, what are some of the initiatives that we can look for?
I did say, I think amazing things. A lot of partnerships are coming into play, a lot of sponsorships, and a lot of collaborations on events, which is so exciting. Few that are happening soon enough is there's this IT event happening in Tampa, Florida, FEBMA, which should be amazing. Entrepreneurs ko lagi. There's an event we're doing, South by Southwest with South Asian House in March. So again, that should be incredible in terms of visibility and so on. There's an e-governance project that we're working on with Nepal government and USAID and so on, really trying to bring in the expertise from the diaspora. So, incredible work. On Itispati, we have the diaspora mapping survey, which has been there for a while, in terms of really mapping out where our diaspora is, what they're doing, and so on. We're revamping it. I think we'll be able to relaunch it very soon. So that should be exciting in terms of really getting data in terms of our diaspora, right? Is such a, I think, will be such a good asset for us. So Theo is exciting. Only then we've been doing a lot of work around entrepreneurs. We run an incubator. We've done pitch events. Now we're trying to scale it. So we've created this TGND startup community, which includes founders, Nepali founders from around the world. So there's going to be, incubators, programs, technical, non-technical programs, angel network. So a lot of things, I think, trying to really help the startup ecosystem of Nepal and Nepalis. So Theo is exciting. On this bike, a few things are sort of coming into play from the learning of last year, right? So we've looked at, we've done a lot of different initiatives, and this what are some of the gaps that are happening until like कसरी mitigate गर्न सकिन्छ भनेर. So there's one that I really want it to happen. It's like this student onboarding. This what that means is Timi, Ma, and so many thousands of us come to the US undergrad, masters, as students, and we try to figure things out, right? There's a lot of learning that's missed, right? Things are better now. There's a lot of media, social media, people are better informed, but I think it's still a journey, right? It's not just about getting admission into a college, getting visa. I mean, those are important. But what happens when you land in a city, right? Nepalma basera, unless it's New York City or Boston or these bigger cities, people don't even know where this college is. Where are people around it? Like if I need help on something, if I'm lonely, like just like mental health issues, if I need a job, if I have questions about immigration, lot of things, right? On 2023, people shouldn't have to struggle on all these things. So student onboarding, once the people are going to college, so we connect the community there, right? The city kun chapter saw त्यहाँको Nepali Student Association, ambassadors, they get this package deal of, okay, be a part of our community where there are mentors if you want. There's people that might help you find internships or jobs. There are people that would, that you could hang out with in person, learn from, and so much, right? And I think long term, I think it's going to be so useful, our community ko lagi, for the younger generation, I know. So one is that I think is important, and I think there's different parts of TGND sort of plugs into it. And अर्को long-term disaster preparedness. I think recently पनि अस्ति नै earthquakes भयो, and we also did this quick donation sort of thing and so on, right? But I've realized that so many times that we sort of activate when disaster strikes. We're very reactive, right? Earthquake bio, COVID bio, how do we help on it? And we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to help, which is amazing. But we should also touch with. How do you prevent things? How do you really knowledge transfer? How do you really prepare ourselves? So that's something that we want to really work with local partners or agencies. And I think that's also something that Zunma your diaspora expertise plug in. Right? There are Nepali experts that are researching on incredible things that want to plug in that expertise. Only TGND can be that platform to really help that work in Nepal. So I think those are the initiatives that even that list is pretty expansive. And with chapters and hubs, I think there's going to be a ton of things for all of us to be busy.
Yeah, no, ekdamai. Ani, like for people who might have found one of those initiatives exciting or interesting, where should they look out for further information on these?
Sure. अहिलेसम्म चाहिँ हाम्रो मोस्ट अपडेटेड चाहिँ लिङ्क्डइन हुन्छ, तर we realize that a lot of people aren't on LinkedIn and so on. So, we're updating our website. So very soon, I think the month of Jan, it should be updated. That's where people can get a lot of information. So I'm hoping that even without, apart from LinkedIn, people can really engage with us and be a part of our initiatives.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely very exciting. It's only like seeing TGND go from this version 1 to take that leap to this next version, and seeing it evolve has definitely been exciting. And I'm sure it's been a very exciting journey for you personally, obviously in the community as well. So before we wrap, is there anything else you'd like to share, or any last message for people in our community?
I guess come be a part of TGND, right? We're always looking for members, volunteers. Just come to an event, virtual or in person, and just try to find out about TGND.
Yeah, I know. And yes, come find out more about us. If you're seeing this on your social media, go check out our profile. You'll find tons of guests with great conversations and insights, and obviously do check out all our events. Taking a little bit of a informal note, or ending in a little bit of an informal note, we've started this new little section called the Rapid Fire. So Preeti, are you ready for your rapid fire today?
Yes.
All right, let's get started. What's your dream destination?
Never been to Europe, so France, Paris.
All right. Do you have a pet peeve?
Pet peeve, money answer.
Yeah.
So there's one where people ask for meetings and you say, okay, your time and everything. Any people don't send calendar invite or anything like that. You know what I mean? It just then you see it like the day of, because it's not on your calendar. So everything else is fine. Till last month, your step say, I've done that as well. So I understand it, but it's like like just ask for email address, or just I give your email address so that it actually is on calendar, right? Our world is
no. So if you want to call with Preeti, do not forget to send that calendar invite, basically.
Yeah, and I'm happy to send it as well.
Moving on, mountains or ocean?
Mountains feel like home. Oceans I feel relaxing. So I think if I want to unwind, beach would be perfect.
All right. And one goal you have for 2024?
Personal level, I think a little bit of stability. I think that's what I'm craving for.
What's your favorite Nepali food?
My mom cooking. She's the best.
And what's one dish that you can cook yourself, or you like?
Nepali, chicken chili. So that's family members would always ask me to make it. So
yeah, I'd love to try that someday. And lastly, Canada or Singapore, because you've lived in both.
Oh my God! Love Singapore for proximity to Nepal at this point, or more than anything else. Canada, because Vancouver especially is so beautiful and the people are amazing. So hard to choose, Tara.
Thank you so much, Preeti, for sharing all of this today. I'm sure it's going to be super helpful for people to learn about what's happening, and especially for people who are involved in community building, to kind of like take this as a learning experience, as a case study. And it has been pretty exciting and has had its like successes and failures, learnings. So yeah, I'm sure like there's a long road ahead. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing that journey with us.
No worries at all. Thank you, Subigya.
All right. And lastly, and as always, please do like, comment on this video, and do subscribe to all our channels. Thank you, everyone.
Perfect. Bye.